Good day, folks. It's DIY Guy 123 here, bringing you another do-it-yourself video. So today I'm going to show you how not to install something, and then I'll show you how to fix it. So as you can see, this is a walkout, well, yeah, I'll tell you, it's a walkout basement, patio doors right here. This wall is obviously the exterior wall, and isn't any soil piled up against the foundation, protruding above floor level. So this side of the basement is warm. The other side of the basement is an office and a storage room and a bathroom, and that foundation wall is 8 feet tall and it's completely covered by soil and it's cold. Now, this house must have had a humidity problem before we moved here, and the homeowners talked to someone and they said, hey, install a humidivent. It takes moist air from the basement and throws it outside, which is a great idea. It's a lot less complex than an air heat exchanger, and very simple to install. But the problem is, whoever decided it should be here made an error in judgment. They put it on the warm side of the basement. And so what was it doing? It's hauling air out that wasn't really that damp anyway, or wasn't cold. And the condensation problem on the other side of the basement was completely not addressed. And so we would end up with condensation on the floor in this utility room. And I also have a water pressure tank in here that gets cold and that sweats, and you can see there's not actually a leak in this basement. That's all condensation right there, and fortunately it goes to a drain in the floor right here. But still, this room is very, very humid. So we're now in the back of the basement, and this wall, 8-foot wall, full length or full height basement, but it's completely buried by soil and cold all the time. So what are we going to do about that? Like, even here, you can see the bottom of the cold water intake to the hot water tank is dripping condensation. So what are we going to do about it? Well, I decided that it was silly to pull the air out of the walkout side of the basement, and so I want to pull it out of the other side. So I could have taken that humidity vent machine thing, I don't remember what it's called, and put it on the back of this wall, which I am going to do that, and then cut a new hole in the end of my floor trusses, whatever that is, the end cap, and then protrude through my siding with another vent. I could do that. But every cut you make in your house is another opportunity for air leakage. Even if you use a vent, well, you have to use a vent with flappers. They don't stay shut. Sometimes when the wind blows the other way, it draws a vacuum on the house and they freely open up. So I'm really allergic to putting more penetrations into the house. So I got looking at my Venmar, my air exchanger, and this one, it's a good unit and it's plumbed throughout the house, but it picks up the exhaust air from the house from the ceiling. Well, that doesn't do a lot of good in the basement when the humidity is mainly on the floor. So not only that, the air exchanger exchanges air throughout the entire house. I don't want to do that in the summer. The upstairs is totally fine, and the front half, or basically the other side of the basement, is perfectly fine. I only want to draw moist air out of this side. So I have removed the exit, or the exhaust line, from the air exchanger, and I'm going to reuse that right here for my humidivent. And in the fall, when I want to go back to using the air exchanger, I'll unplug this and I'll plug it onto the Venmar. So I'm going to get a hose clamp that's adjustable with a screwdriver so that I can easily change this back and forth. Some of you might think that's a nuisance twice a year to make that change. If that's the case, then you can run another line like this, an insulated line, and another vent out and protrude your siding with it, and certainly that's valid too. Probably more professional. So in order to make that humidivent fit here, I had to make some modifications to it. So for one thing, you take the cover off. There's the cover out of the way. So for one thing, it was taller than it needed to be. This is the original top, and I just cut that off. Now I used a plasma cutter, but you could certainly use an angle grinder with a cutting disc on it. So that doesn't need to be there. And I did that because I want unrestricted access to the top of this structure. Okay, so we're just about to wrap up the project here, and I wanted to show you the final plumbing. So here's the Humidex installed, and I used a 664T, and so I mean 6 inches, 6 inches, and 4 inches there. And actually I added 2 T's together. This one is a 4-inch T that goes off, comes around here, comes down, and there's a T fitting just below there that's really hard to see. But that one is purely to draw moisture off of the floor, right behind my water expansion tank. And also that line carries on and goes towards the bedroom that was a little humid, so this should take care of it. And so that's that ducting. And then this T right here heads off to another area along that cold side of the basement. And there's a T right here, so we have two entrances into the system from this room. Then it pops along through a sheetrock wall into a home office, and there's a T just on the inside of that wall, and then into a closet, and then it carries on to a bathroom. Now, ideally you'd have, you know, larger pipe, like that's a 6-inch fan, and you'd have a larger pipe that heads to each location maybe, or heads away from the unit and then fans out into smaller and smaller diameter pipes. I'm well aware of that, but I think this'll still be fine. I'm not so worried about the volume of airflow as long as there is airflow. So certainly there will be restrictions when you basically take a 6-inch fan and fan it out into 2 4-inch pipes. There is a restriction there, but I'm not so worried about it. Now, the astute viewers would notice that the bottom of this T is open, and I'll show you what I have done to fix that. It's a really high-tech solution. It's a butter container, and I'm just gonna, I just turned the fan on so the vacuum's holding it there, but I'm just gonna tape that in place. It's probably a metal cover I could get, but don't have one today, and not gonna worry so much about it. So this black insulated hose heads right outdoors to my outdoor vent. So that's the whole project, and I've repurposed the Humidex unit for good instead of for dumb, which was the way it was installed the first time. So hopefully this gives you an idea on how you can solve your moist basement problems, and good luck with your do-it-yourself.